Assalamu alaikum. Amanda's first. I'm making a whole new set of videos, starting with Amanda's first hijab experience. I hope you're all in the best of Iman and the best of happiness, and I'm sending you an abundance of love and positivity to you all. I started thinking about the hijab, and I wanted to first of all talk about and put it into a context. What does hijab actually mean? I know a lot of people think, though, and I did, the hijab is just a scarf that you wrap around your head. Actually, it was referenced in the Quran, meaning a curtain, a separation, or some kind of wall. And it was advised that when gentlemen are calling at the Prophet's house, peace be upon him, that they needed to be behind a wall of the wife of our Prophet, peace be upon him. So that means that the wall is hiding and masking and protecting something. And I thought that was quite a nice, beautiful analogy, a description of what the hijab actually means. And it actually went on to say that the ladies and the gentlemen the ladies should be wearing an outer garment to protect their adornments, and the gentlemen needed to cover below their navel, so that we are not exposing our outline of our body. And also, in addition to that, men need to lower their gaze. Now, men are going to look no matter what. So for me as a woman, I would rather protect myself, because men are going to look at me anyway. I would rather keep my private parts private and not expose those to anybody apart from my husband. I also see the hair, although I don't think this is very Islamic or it's got anything to do with Quran, but for me personally, I feel that the hair is an organ, and it's a very sexual organ. I had a very interesting experience, actually, as another reason why I would cover my hair. This is just me personally. It's got nothing to do with the Quran, but I see how this protection that I wear and that I cover myself modestly makes sense. Now, the other day, I was in the gym and I was in a class with women, and normally I wear my turban. And I decided to take my turban off and let my hair down. We were doing some floor work, and my hair was at the back getting a little bit uncomfortable. And the dear lady behind me, now she meant nothing by it, although you could see how it could mean more to other women. We look and we judge other women. We could think jealous thoughts. I mean, she said, wow, your hair is amazing, it's so long, and whoa, it's so beautiful. I mean, she meant genuine good intentions about my hair, but it made me think. Now, there was such a big fuss and a hoo-ha about my hair being down, and these are women who meant kindness towards me, but it could also be seen as the evil eye, jealousy. So I'm quite happy to keep my hair covered for my own personal reasons. Now, it doesn't make me any closer or any stronger in my faith or in my connection to Allah. I also had another discussion about why a lady was very distressed, a Muslim lady was very distressed why I was wearing a turban and not the proper, this hijab scarf. She was very distressed about that. She thought that I was sort of trying to start a new trend, and that perhaps I wasn't as pious because I wasn't looking like the original women of Mecca, the original followers of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And I couldn't understand why she was being so judgmental, and I don't think we should be judgmental, because it doesn't really mean anything that's in our heart. For me, I think that if a Muslim woman is modest, but she might not want to necessarily cover her hair, I mean, obviously I would love her to cover her hair, because then she is publicly recognized as a Muslim. But I think it's down to an individual woman, and I think that it's a personal journey, especially for women who have who have become Muslim in a very Western society with Islamophobia. It can be quite difficult. I mean, I've been in Cairo for the last 2 years, and it was actually in Cairo where I started to wear my hijab. I felt very comfortable because all the women around me were dressed wearing hijab. Nobody cared, nobody said anything, nobody looked at me in any weird way. So it was quite liberating, actually. Now I'm back in the UK, I don't actually wear my headscarf like this, the hijab. I actually wear my turban when I'm out and about, because that's how I feel most comfortable, especially when I'm at work. Maybe if I'm going out on the streets, I'm quite happy to wear my covering, my scarf like this. But if I'm at work, in schools I teach, I would feel more comfortable in my turban. That's just a personal choice. I was very fortunate. My first hijab wearing was when I was back in my 20s, actually. My ex-husband, mother was Jamaican, and she would wear a head wrap, and she would wear kaftans and float around the house looking absolutely gorgeous. And I liked that look, actually, and I started to wrap my head and my hair, and I started to wear kaftan. So for me, you know, it's such a blessing. Allah makes things so easy for us. You know, he made it easy for me to do the transition from being exposed and wearing shorts and t-shirts and having all kinds of crazy haircuts and hairstyles flapping and floating around, and to being modest and covering and wearing looser clothes and long sleeves and long trousers and long dresses that flow. So for me, it's a really gradual, and it wasn't anything that was too stark and too different. So I was very young, and I started to experiment wearing head wraps, mostly because I was going through some crazy phase of looking like Sinead O'Connor, and I decided to shave my hair, and then it had to grow back, so I had to cover it, you know. That was really my very first experience of wearing a head covering, but not necessarily the hijab. Now, I was very desperate to sort of identify as being a Muslim and wanted to cover my hair, but I just didn't feel I had the nerve to go out. I felt somewhat like I was a fraudster, you know. I didn't know how to put it on, and, you know, what style did I want it? Did I want it kind of like I was in Qatar at the time, did I want to look it like the Qataris, the way they wrapped it? And then when I was in Egypt, do I want to look more Egyptian and the way they wrap it? And I think it's just how you as a person, as a woman, feels comfortable. When, where, how, I think it's completely up to the individual, and I really think we have to be very, very careful not to judge. You know, I was judged on wearing a turban. Why was I wearing a turban? I was trying to change things and start a new sort of fashion. Some lady told me. I just don't think it's really anybody's business, or I just don't think we should be judgmental and rude. I think we should be encouraging. I think if a woman's not ready to cover, that's absolutely fine. If she never covers, that's absolutely fine. It's what's in your heart, and it's how you are dressed, you know, modestly dressed. If you haven't covered your hair because you're not ready to cover it, or you don't feel you want to cover it, that's absolutely fine. And at the same time, that's for me personally. I can't speak for anybody else. For me personally, I wouldn't judge anybody, Muslim, not Muslim. It's all what's in your heart, and it's your journey, and it's you at the end of it will be facing your Creator, you know, whether you're a Muslim or not. So I think we just have to be kind and gentle and encouraging with each other. So I was in Cairo when my first time to wear. It was a bit of a sad moment actually, because I had decided to wear my full hijab to work, to school. I had started to wear the turban, and there were lots of lovely boutique shops in Cairo, and they sold all kinds of different wonderful head wraps and scarves, and so I had a good choice actually. I was very fortunate, alhamdulillah. Now this particular day I decided to not wear my turban and to really go for more of the kind of scarf hijab look. And I was very nervous because I was worried that it was going to fall off, or I kept fiddling with it all day. I was like a child with a new pair of shoes, you know. And then unfortunately I was taken to one side by the head teacher there, and she, you know, she kind of just said to me, no, you know, this look is not what we want, you know, I don't want you wearing it again. And I felt very devastated actually. I felt really embarrassed and discouraged. I don't want to go into too much detail because I think that's quite a personal story, and I don't want to say anything too more about it. But that was a very unfortunate experience. But nevertheless, it didn't stop me. It didn't stop me. They didn't say I couldn't cover. They just didn't want me to wear the scarf for their reasons. They were happy with me wearing a turban, which is what I carried on doing. So I really eased into covering with a turban, and that was comfortable for me. So that's really my sort of story about my very first, you know, I took a long time playing around, wrapping my hair in different styles. Which way was I going to wear my covering, my hijab? So there you are. If you've got any comments and you've got any suggestions for my next for my next video, I'm happy to carry on talking about the hijab. If you've got any questions or you want to bring up some discussions, I'd love to hear from you. I would love you to have a blessed and beautiful day. Keep smiling, and just let's keep encouraging each other. Let's not discourage, and be happy for where you are, at what point and at what stage you are in your journey. You take care, everybody. Lots of love. Massalama, and I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Take care.